are with Andrew Bennett once again. Thanks for doing this for us.
Hey man, good to be back.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me on.
no problem. So the last time we were on was actually December 2020. It was episode 123.
Oh wow, so it's been a while.
Yeah, nearly 2 years.
Yeah,
So
cool man. I dig the shirt.
yeah, they had these on sale at
I
a
like the shirt.
local store down here.
Oh man, that's good. I love that one.
Yeah,
Um, I took a shirt and just made my own, threw the logo on with a Sharpie.
it's good that they're spreading the word out about Van Halen.
Yeah, it's funny. Like every now and then I'll meet like a teenager or even a young kid who like is learning about Van Halen and they're way into it,
Yep.
and it gives me hope for the future.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. I gave my nephew a set of Alex's drumsticks to
Oh, yeah.
inspire him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he gets to watch some of the footage. He gets to watch like the Alex footage.
So last time you were on, we spoke about the book, how it was all going, how it all come about, and I mean at that time it was what 2-3 months just after Eddie's passing, and I think we were both pretty emotional about it. But I mean, still to this day, it's the same thing. Um, so what's been happening over the last 2 years?
Just selling books. I do everything on my own.
Yeah.
So I order the books from this amazing printer, and then it takes a while for them to get here. And then they get here, and I print out all the shipping labels. I wrap them in this thick brown paper to make sure they arrive in pristine condition. And I pack them up in the bubble mailers. And I wish people could see this. I don't drive a car, so to get the books from my house to the post office, it's not that far, but I have to pack these two big suitcases. So people see me walking through the neighborhood pulling these giant suitcases. And then I get to the post office, and I don't know what the people behind me think. Maybe he's sending these suitcases somewhere. Then I open up the suitcases. There's like 70 books coming out. And I always turn around at the line. I go, sorry, guys, should have got here before me.
Oh, wow. Actually, talking about the book,
There it is.
all the way through here.
The shameless plug behind me. It's kind of propped up there.
Yeah.
And then I thought it would be fitting to put up the framed photo of the outside of 5150. 5150 was just plain in the front. And then when Wolf came back, it was real fired up. And he had these guys come and paint it with these battleship numbers on it. In the front, I said, Ed, why are you painting it with these battleship numbers? And he said, because I'm about to go to war.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of 5150 right there.
Yeah. But the good thing with this book, I mean, with the hardcover and everything, it really keeps in good condition. Like, it still looks brand new to me.
Thanks.
And it's great. I mean, I do take good care of it as well.
When I did the book, I do everything on my own. So I had to research printers and who's good and who's not. And so I would buy these sample copies from all these different companies. And one would arrive and I'm like, that looks terrible, and throw it in the trash. But I mean, I'm all about quality and it being perfect. But it's funny because I learned like keeping the bar really high and never settling for less from Eddie. So when I was getting the books printed, in my mind all the time was, would Eddie approve of this? And so finally I found this amazing company. I was like, there you go, guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think Eddie would approve of you guys.
Oh, yeah. 100%. The photos in it as well. Just incredible. Like I was going to go through it and choose my best, but
thanks, man. Yeah.
They're all really good.
I have some favorites in there. There's one where he's like leaning down on the soundboard like he's listening to something.
Yes, I just saw that.
I liked that.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I like a lot of the photos. What's funny is when I was there, I was just there to film all these sessions. And then one day, years ago, I came across this folder that just said 5150 pictures. And I opened it up and I was like, I don't remember taking 700 pictures.
Oh, wow.
But the camera I was shooting on was this Canon So you could be recording and then snap a picture as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I saw all of the idea of the book kind of came from that. I was like, I have all these photos, and nobody's ever really seen the details and the inside of 5150. And I thought, well, this is great, man. People can finally get a sneak peek inside this place.
Yeah. So there's a lot more then.
Oh, yeah. I think the book has around 120 photos.
Yep.
And I think in my folder, there's 500 or 600.
Yeah. So there could be book 2 and 3.
No, I think I've shared the stories that I want to share.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could do just a photo. But, I think we talked about this last time, but when I decided to write it, I had people approach me and say, hey, do you want a book deal? Based on your experience. And I said, well, what would you want in the book? They said, well, we want all the dirt. Tell us all about it, man. How much was he drinking? This and that. And I just said, that's not what I want to write. I just want to write these little short stories to give people an idea of what it's like on a Wednesday afternoon at 5150. It's just, Eddie means a lot to people, man. And I was really protective of that. I think my favorite turning somebody down had to be when TMZ called me and said, we heard you have all this footage. We want to get our hands on this and this and this. And they're like, we want to set up a meeting. So they set up this meeting for 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. And a friend of mine went down to the office with an envelope and said, Andrew can't make it, but here's this. And they open up the envelope. There's just a piece of paper that says, go fuck yourself.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
I thought Eddie would be proud of that one. Yeah. Everything I do, I keep Eddie in mind. Would he approve of this? Would he like this?
Yeah.
And hopefully Wolfgang likes it. I haven't heard from Wolfgang, but Wolfgang is so vocal on social media that if he didn't like it, I'm pretty sure I would have heard about it at this point.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, actually, talking about Wolfgang, did you see his latest performance on the Taylor Hawkins tribute?
Oh my god! Oh my god, man! My girlfriend and I were watching it, and it made me want to cry. Wolfgang doesn't want to play Van Halen songs.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wants to be an artist. And I was reading some things people were writing, he said he would never play Van Halen songs, and now he's playing them. I'm like, he's playing them because one of the biggest Van Halen fans was Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah.
If you've seen Taylor play over the years, always wearing the striped board shorts.
Yeah.
Van Halen was one of his favorite bands. And, it was emotional to see Wolfgang and Taylor's son.
Yeah.
Here's these two guys who lost their fathers at young ages. We're both, Wolf is following in Ed's footsteps. And then I watched Taylor's son, and I thought, that's the new drummer of Foo Fighters.
Exactly, yeah.
Get him. The kid was amazing.
He was great.
And I saw them hug afterwards. And yeah, man, it just, I'm from New York, but I'm not a tough guy. I got a little watery in the eyeballs.
Yeah, that was awesome. But over those times you spent, at the 5150, I know we spoke last time how, with Wolfie, he was playing a lot of the Van Halen songs on bass. But did you hear him play much guitar back then?
No. The only time I ever saw him pick up the guitar was Ed wasn't in the room, and Wolf and I were just there hanging out. And the Frankenstein guitar would either sit on this little stand on the floor, or Ed would just lay it on a chair. And I would look at that guitar on a chair, and I was like, you realize that's the most famous guitar in history, right? It's worth millions of dollars. Just sitting on a chair, because that's how Ed was. But Wolfgang did pick it up one day, and he was kind of strumming it. And Ed comes walking in real fast, and he's smiling. He always smiled when he was around Wolf. And he's smiling, and he just takes the guitar off of Wolf and puts it on. And it's in some of the film footage I have, that moment is. And I watched that moment, and I'm just like, God, man, Ed was so happy, and it was so funny. And so no, I never really saw him play the guitar. He just rocked the bass all the time. But if you're at a rehearsal and Eddie Van Halen's on guitar, no real reason for anybody else to be the guitar.
That's right. Yeah, but I think a lot of people were surprised though. Like, I mean, they knew he played guitar from, the Mammoth, his band WVH, but to hear him play
Yeah.
the way he did, note for note, and get the sound, it was incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like,
Mm.
you can be Eddie's son and you can be talented, but playing those songs is a whole other story. There's so many little idiosyncrasies, all these little things.
Yeah.
And I think it's a credit to Wolf. I think it's a credit to Ed too. But I think it's a credit to Wolf because you don't just get that because you're Eddie's son.
No.
Like, I always thought, like, there's definitely genetics involved. This is one of the most talented families ever.
Yeah.
But to get that good, take practice. And
Yeah, for
he
sure.
learned from his dad all about practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like the sessions that I filmed over that course of 9 months or so, I was just mentioning this yesterday, is that when they have these sessions, Ed was going to one, and he's talking to somebody who wouldn't say, okay, I'm going to go up to the studio and jam, or I'm going to go up to the studio and play. He always said, I'm going to the studio to practice.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's like, you're the greatest who's ever lived, right? But even to the greatest, he felt like, I have to practice every single day.
Yeah.
And he did.
Incredible. So those videos, how much time do you think you've watched it?
I would put some on every now and then.
Yeah.
But mainly I would watch it when friends came over. Because a friend would come over and say, hey, can I watch him play Eruption? Can I watch them play Hot for Teacher?
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, I mean, the footage isn't going anywhere. You can sit in the house and watch it. From LA to New York, like, there were so many friends who were like, I just want to come over. I had a friend in New York who was like, I'll pay you $500 today just to let me watch footage. And I thought, I can't. Like, that would piss Ed off. You're charging people to watch this footage. And it's also like, it's gotten to the point where when my friends are watching the footage, I've seen it so many times, I was filming it, that sometimes, I don't know if this sounds corny, but sometimes I just like to watch my friends watch the footage. Because it's so rare and nobody's ever seen this stuff, and just their jaws just drop on the floor and they can't believe what they're seeing.
Yeah, wow.
And since his passing, people get more and more emotional about it too when they watch it.
So I guess that leads us to our next part. What's happening now? So I saw the interview you did with, what are they called? The VSN, was it?
Vibes.
That's it, yep. Yeah, so that was very interesting about the NFTs and so I really hadn't heard much about it. I had to actually go research what NFTs were and find out all about it.
Yeah, so did I. I still don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
But the fact like people like Kanye West put out their work as NFTs and other bands are doing it. Starbucks is releasing an NFT. I don't know what the hell that means. But when I see legitimate artists are doing it, and I'm like, well, okay, like this obviously is a way for them to get their work out. And, obviously over the years, I've gotten a lot of emails asking, like, when are you going to release the footage?
Yeah.
And I've always said, Wolfgang says it's okay. But, I think Wolf is off doing his thing, and he doesn't want to concern himself with, Van Halen, excuse me, from 15 years ago. But I didn't want to make a DVD and sell a DVD. I didn't want people to, go online and download the footage. One, I didn't want it spread all over. If somebody's going to see this, I want to know that they're a diehard Van Halen fan.
Yeah.
And with NFTs, people have the access to do that. They don't have to spend a ton of money. And with these, it's like they get, I always use the example of Hot for Teacher. Like for Christmas in 06, I took Hot for Teacher, On Fire, Atomic Punk. And I took all the footage from the rehearsals up to that point. I edited together these 3 kind of music videos in a sense.
Oh wow.
But it's just them playing on different days. And I had it all synced up, and I used like the best day that I thought for those songs. I'm like, that day, that song kicked ass. And I cut those together, and it was a gift for Eddie, Alex, and Wolfgang for Christmas.
Yeah.
And over the years, fans have told me, my friends have told me, they're like, people would love to see this.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I would love people to see this. Honestly, I don't think it's fair that this 100 some odd hours is sitting on a shelf behind the computer right now.
Yeah.
I want people to see it. And with NFTs, I felt like that was the best way to go. It keeps it to a more secluded group, you know? Like when the NFTs drop, before they go to the public, I'm able to go to all the Van Halen fans and give them first dibs. It's just being released at this price. You get it before all the masses start buying it.
Okay.
So I felt like, cool, this is a good way to do it. I felt like it's a respectful way to do it, you know, not on social media, just hawking footage everywhere.
Yep.
It was a nice platform. I thought it was respectful.
Yeah. So do you know when that will be available, or is it still in the works at the moment?
The guys right now are looking at in the next 2 months.
Okay.
So when it came to the NFTs, there's a lot. I didn't know how to make an NFT. I don't know how to market an NFT. I knew nothing.
Yeah.
So I met with like a few groups of guys who do this. So I met with like some different companies, and I just wanted to see like, what's your take on this? And I went to like 4 different cities and talked to all these people. And, you know, sometimes I repeat myself about the respect to Eddie. It's just kind of ingrained in my soul at this point. So I sit in these meetings and I listen to these guys talk about what they would do and this and that. And the only thought in my head is always, would Eddie like you?
Yeah.
And all these groups I met with, I was like, Eddie would not like you. And you know, along with like things like TMZ and all this, it was like they wanted the dirt. Like, you know, with NFTs, you not only get the content, but you get like I tell the story behind the content. And then there's all these bonuses you can get to different material, photos and experiences. You know, from film footage to photos, I also have all this audio.
Yeah.
Because the guys would record every practice, like straight to the 5150 board. Wow. And they had an engineer there kind of mixing it as they went along. And every day, Eddie would go by walk up to me at my desk and go, here's today's practice. And just toss the CD on my desk. But on that CD is just an AIF file. And for those who don't know, that's like the highest quality audio file you can have.
Yep.
And so all those practice sessions, it's just the 3 Van Halens. There's no singer. So you get to hear these songs in a whole new way. Like all these little tiny things that Eddie does. Like I've listened to the recorded session or the actual recordings on the record and compared them to the sessions. I'm like, wow, man, I'm hearing whole new things in here. And Eddie never plays the same song the same way. Like there's always some little new thing he's doing, even on something like Hot for Teacher. In the middle of playing, he's decided, maybe I'll do this. So there's a lot of material, and I want people to be able to see it. But I don't want to be some asshole that's selling it to the media or hawking it on eBay or whatever. And so, with NFTs, I talked with some other artists and musicians that I know, and everybody agreed, like, this is a respectful way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, what I researched yesterday, it's incredible, the NFTs, people buying like a picture of a post on Twitter or just these other little things. So for what you're doing, that's incredible.
Yeah, I don't understand the people who are like selling a picture of an elephant. Sometimes it's like, I think the way it works is like they present it like this, they're just kind of hiding the content of something in this picture. So when you buy that picture, like with this stuff, if you buy this one NFT, it unlocks you to all this other material that came with it, photos and music and this and that. And, on my end, it was nice because that material can't be reproduced. It can't be shared on the internet. It's just for the person who got it.
Yep.
Like if somebody's going to go and spend the money, it's not fair to them if somebody else is putting it on fucking YouTube.
Exactly.
So it was nice. I think it's respectful to Eddie. I think it guarantees the fans like their exclusivity to it. It was the way to go.
Yeah. So do you know if it's going to be like, like just say for like a minute or like a half hour, or do you get the option to buy like different ones?
Yeah, there'll be different kinds. What I want to like full rehearsals are like an hour. So like one NFT will be like 15 minutes of that rehearsal. So like 3 songs. Yep. And then there'll be another NFT that's like the Hot for Teacher or Empire or Atomic Punk that's all edited together. Sometimes like if you buy like say the one of Hot for Teacher, embedded in that are photos and audio. And then I kind of like, this wasn't my idea, I guess it's the way it works, but I narrate there's a story, like there is a story behind everything.
Yeah.
And so I kind of tell the story. So yeah, everybody gets this nice little Van Halen package.
Oh, right.
And with NFTs, I'm not an expert, but the way it's been explained to me is so if somebody can buy the NFT, they get to enjoy the NFT, and now it's on this thing called the blockchain.
Yeah.
So they can put it back up. So say somebody spends $100, they can go back and put it up for $200 and sell it to the next person. And when they've sold it to the next person, they get a percentage of that 200 back.
Yep.
And then some of that comes back down to me. It's like this nice world of like sharing the material, sharing the money. It just seems like a cool little world.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting. It's only been since was it last year or two? This has been out the NFTs.
Oh no, the NFTs will come out for another 2 months.
Oh, is it?
Obviously, like you and some other people are going to get the heads up. Like, I'll let you know, and then you can tell your viewers.
Yeah.
And so, like, people within this world, like you and your listeners, and some other fans here and there, get first dibs.
Okay. Yeah.
So it comes out at whatever X amount of price, and so they don't have to. They get first dibs. So as time goes on, all of a sudden they're not paying the outrageous prices that are because it's going to go up and up and up.
Yeah. Wow.
I just felt like that's the right thing to do, man. Give the diehards first dibs on it. Because after that, people will start buying it who don't even like Van Halen.
Yeah,
they'll buy it because it's this collectible thing that doesn't exist. It's like somebody buying a painting and hanging it in their house and enjoying it, and then they sell it for twice what they bought it for. So, and every single NFT that comes out will be that way.
Okay.
So every single time a new one is released, the diehard good people in the Van Halen world get first dibs.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah, so he said, like, the guys are saying that those who purchase it, you get these little collectibles with it, from photos to audio. And then I think they're going to throw a couple of parties where you get to kind of see the footage on some screens, so you know what you're getting. And I think they're going to do kind of virtual parties as well. Like physical people will be there.
Yep.
But there'll be a virtual thing too, so people can actually see what's going on. And the team I went with are like the most trustworthy, smartest guys I met.
Yeah.
Like these guys are amazing. And the head of that team he's kind of a friend of mine. We're friends because his dad gave me my very first job in the industry.
Oh, wow.
And so I just randomly texted him one day because he's, 27 years old and he's savvy and he's out there doing all kinds of things. And all I did was text him one day and all I said was, "What do you know about NFTs?" And he just texted back, "Everything." And so, yeah, man, I had him and his partners over to the house and we had dinner and put up all the footage and watched, everything from Ed playing songs. Like, he only played Eruption one time in the whole year I was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like Hot for Teacher. Yeah, when he played it, he messes up a couple of times, actually, which I think is pretty rare to see Eddie Van Halen mess up and stop.
Yeah, exactly.
So he plays Eruption and he's kind of shredding it. And then in the end, he just goes, damn, that hurt. I haven't played that song in 3 years.
Jeez.
And even at the beginning of that clip, Wolf is standing off to the side, and Ed comes in. And Wolf says, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm playing Eruption." And Wolfgang goes, "Well, do I have to be here for this?"
Yeah, he's got to play the first 3 notes.
Oh my God, we used to take the 3 notes on Post-it notes, and we would stick them on Wolfgang's back or stick them on his face. It became this ongoing joke that, like, when Ed plays Eruption, all you have to do is go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the NFTs are just like, honestly, man, they're a more fun way to get the stuff out there too. You know,
Yeah.
there's stories behind it, and all these little gems. Yeah, man, I'm excited. And yeah, like I said, the guy that was the head of the team, is the son of my first boss. I know his dad really well. And these guys, while they're young, and I think they're more into different kinds of music, they understand the legend of Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
And they understand, the impact and how important he is to people. From the second these guys came in, nothing but respect. They saw some clips that, there's some stuff from 2004 where he wasn't in such good shape.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knows that. And I told him, I go, nothing from 2004. I'll never show anybody anything from 2004. And right away, those guys were like, that's not why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here for the quality stuff. He's good health and shredded.
That's great.
Right away, I was like, you're the guys.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I guess that plays a big part in it too. Like you're saying, that you got to put a lot of trust in these guys too, because they're getting all the footage. Yeah, they're not going to leak it out to the world.
Yeah, they do have a hard drive of 100 hours of the rarest Van Halen footage in the world.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, they're really, really good people. They really have the respect for Ed. They really want to present this stuff in the right way. With an NFT, they could go and whip together an NFT today, throw it up on the blockchain.
Yep.
But they just want to make sure it's done right. It's quality, the footage. I'm going to go revisit the footage. And I'm going to have to maybe, do some color adjustments so it's really popping. We're going to make sure it's at 110% when it comes out.
Yeah. So are they going to be the ones that decide which parts are going to be on which NFT?
No, I'm going to make those choices.
Oh, okay.
At this point, I know which days are great. I have the stuff memorized at this point, where I'm like, okay, October 17th of 2006, they killed it on Atomic Pump. That was awesome. And I know the good shots and the good angles, and I just want to make sure it's the best of the best. But within that, it's not going to be just them playing the song and then it ends. I want people to see, the little chatter in between songs.
Yeah.
Alex is in a different room, but Ed pushes a button and he talks to him, and I want to see that little stuff, or when sometimes a lot of times he just walks over and hugs Wolfgang because he's so proud of him.
Yeah.
Or he's playing, Ed's playing, and he's just staring at Wolfgang he can't believe it. There's a moment where they're done and Ed just looks at me and he just goes, "This kid is kicking my ass." So you get to see the vibe of being in the room and just hanging out.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much what I did. I shot on a really nice camera, and being a director, I would humbly say that I know how to shoot good shots.
Yeah.
But really, that fly on the wall, I never got in Eddie's face with the camera. Yeah. I literally leaned against the wall, or tucked myself under the soundboard for some angles.
Yeah.
I could do anything I want as long as Eddie didn't see the camera in front of his face while he's looking at his guitar.
Yeah, I think that comes across in the book as well. Some of the photos you got in here, there's different angles and they're really good shots. Where most people probably wouldn't think about that. Just video the person straight on, but you've got the intricate angles. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think everybody in this day and age is so used to iPhones, right? You see footage of something, we shot on an iPhone. but I shot on a real camera with a real lens, so I could actually, pull some focus and frame a proper shot. And, it's shooting at a really clean 24 frames per second, which is what film shoots at. So yeah, it's, again, my footage is not just me holding a camera like this while I smoke a cigarette. I had a camera on my shoulder that weighed a lot. So yeah, I mean, that's also one of the upsides of it is like, this isn't stuff shot on a phone, man. This is, I was still an up and coming director at the time, but I would say it's professionally shot.
Oh, for sure. No, that's incredible. I can't wait. Can't wait to see some of it.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, Van Halen fans get first dibs. Like, I'm going to let you know what's up, and then you can let, your followers and listeners know. Yeah. But the Van Halen world will get the first chance before all the other people who collect NFTs for, for investment reasons and this and that, whatever. They do it for money, but people do things for money. Everybody has to work.
Yeah.
But like I said, I want it, because as an NFT moves on, it becomes more and more expensive. And so, like I said, I want the fans to have first dibs, because I don't know where it's going to go as far as prices and this and that. But and like I said, I think we're throwing a couple of parties, so people will get a sneak peek at some stuff.
Wow.
Definitely, I think Eruption is one of the ones I want people to see.
Yeah.
Just because because he's getting into it, but you can tell he's like, hasn't played this in a long time.
Right.
And that's just, it's such a different visual than, when he's on stage and the eyes are closed. He's just so into it.
Yeah.
It's like, looks like this guy trying to learn a song.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But he does shred it. He stops a couple of times, which I think is really rare. Like, Eddie Van Halen stopped playing Eruption because he messed up. But also a credit to Eddie. He messed up, so therefore he starts over. He doesn't just, overlook that mistake and keep going.
Yeah.
And then, raw stuff, the guys talking, Alex would come back in. It's always a little interaction between him and Ed. Alex is one of the funniest guys in the world. So, yeah, when I wrote the book, I wanted people to have an idea of what it's like to be there and hang out. And now with, NFTs and film footage, I really get to see what it's like to hang out in that room.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know a lot of people. I mean, over the last 2 years, I've become, good friends with some people in the Van Halen communities and the different YouTube channels, and being guests on some of their shows as well. I'm sure they're going to love it. They're just going to can't wait to see it as well.
Yeah, man. I've gotten a lot of emails over the years of people asking, when am I going to release the footage? And there was a moment like years and years ago where I pulled some little stunt where you could buy what I called the 5150 vault. And you didn't get much. You got some photos, you got a little audio, you got a little film footage, and it was expensive because I didn't want the masses to have it. I wanted the diehards to have it.
Yeah.
And then the second I put it out, I had this day where I thought, that was a really stupid idea. So luckily only 6 people bought it.
Oh, wow.
And somebody who did buy it, I had to know who you are. I needed to know everything about you, like your children's names and where they go to school. But I thought right away, I was like, this is actually kind of disrespectful. I shouldn't have done this. And, I've reached out to Wolfgang, through email. I don't know if he still has the same email, but I've reached out to him because while I'm going to do my NFTs, I always tell Wolfgang that if you want this footage, all of it, you can have it.
Yeah.
Yes, your dad never paid me, and that really sucked. But at the end of the day, that's not Wolf's issue. He was 15 years old at the time. He had nothing to do with what happened to me. And it's I always said, it's his life, his dad, his experience. So I've told him, and Wolf, if you're watching, you can have the footage, all of it, the entire hard drive, no strings attached. Life's short, man. I just want to do the right thing when I can.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be greedy or fuck somebody over. That's not like that. So, Wolf, if you're watching, call me up and let's have lunch, and I'll hand you a hell of a hard drive.
Yeah. No, that's
Well,
cool.
you know, you and I should talk off. I'd be happy to screen some stuff for you, and then you can kind of tell people what you saw.
Yeah, I'd love to, for sure. That'd be great. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, you can tell some people, holy shit, I just saw Eddie Van Halen play Hot for Teacher on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. No, whenever you're free, I'd love to do that for sure. Now, just one last thing though, before we go. So your book, you're saying it's coming onto Amazon, is that right?
Yeah, so the book is still available at eruptioninthecanyon.com. I'm fully stocked right now, to my girlfriend's displeasure. Our house is full of books. And she's not a Van Halen fan. I still love her. But so it's still eruptioninthecanyon.com. And for a while, there was a bootlegger. There was a guy who was originally kind of like a business partner in this. I met him through some people in New York. He seemed like a very legit guy. He's a diehard Van Halen fan. And it turns out that he's actually quite the con man. So he started selling paperback versions. And like the photos were all distorted, and like it was missing pages. But he started selling a paperback version on Amazon. And so for the longest time, you probably saw some of these posts.
Yeah.
Do not buy the Amazon bootleg.
Yeah.
Like you will be really disappointed, and you're supporting a con man. And I tried and tried and tried to get this pulled off of Amazon. It's really difficult. You know, like I called them up and I said, that's me. That's my name. Like, this book is registered in my name. And for the longest time, Amazon just couldn't do anything about it, or they wouldn't do anything about it. And then one day I just randomly came across a different phone number. And for Amazon, I called this number and I said, hey, I got this bootlegger, blah, blah, blah. And the guy goes, okay, what's the name of your book? And I said, Eruption in the Canyon. And he goes, the Van Halen book? And I said, yeah. He goes, Van Halen's my favorite band. And in my head, I thought, I'm getting this shit pulled down. So like, the listing is still on Amazon, but it says currently unavailable, and it will always be that way, I guess, until they physically pull it down. So I'm not savvy in this area of how to get things on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and all these places. So kind of the same I did with the NFT guys. I looked around to find a team that knows how to do this. Like, can you guys take my book, handle the printing, Amazon, all of that? So I connected with them about a month ago. So I think it's going to be on Amazon in the next 30 days.
Okay.
So it'll be on Amazon where they can get just only the hardcover. And I think they're making me do a Kindle version. That's some kind of part of Amazon's deal, which is fine. I want people to read it and see it. But as you know, it's pretty awesome to be able to hold it and see the big photos.
It's just, you gotta have the real thing. It's a must.
So in about a month, it'll be on Amazon. It'll be on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, something called Alibaba, which I guess is some huge outlets kind of outside of America. It'll be in the UK through like the UK's version of Barnes and Noble. So it'll be in all these places. And my girlfriend won't have to drive me to the post office anymore. And it's still the same. It'll still be the same price. So people who bought it before, you know, nobody's getting kind of ripped off. Right? They're probably not cutting the price in half or anything like that. Plus, I like the price. I think the price is perfect.
Yeah, that's it.
It's $51.50. Again, like the NFTs, I'll let you know when that legitimate listing is up.
Yep.
And we'll get the word out. And I'm sure you'll see me on Facebook going, hallelujah, the day has come. I've got rid of the bootlegger. And I know who he is. I can out his name right now. But I can hear Eddie sometimes in my ear. I hear Eddie all the time in my ear, in my life. You know, if it's something with a person or a situation or this and that. Honestly, I hear Ed's advice more than I hear my dad's advice. I can just hear Eddie all the time, you know, talking in my ear, whether it's like, you know, some people that are around me in this horrible Los Angeles town, I can hear Eddie going, "Stay away from that motherfucker." So yeah, I think that I can always hear Ed's voice. And when it came to the bootlegger, I could hear Ed's voice going, "Take him down, Andrew. Take him down." And I think that's the only time I disagreed with the Eddie voice in my head. I was like, yeah, that seems like a lot of work. And, you know, I don't want to, while I don't like this man, if I were to give his name to all these Van Halen fans, I could only imagine what his life would turn into. But
it would be good.
If Dan is watching, Dan, you're a very lucky man.
There you go. Got the first name.
Yeah. But like with the NFTs, I know that a lot of people, including myself, don't really know what these are, or how to get them, how do you do it. So the guys that are handling this are going to write up kind of a little letter to people that speaks our language, not their techie NFT world language. Yeah. So everybody, you know, Van Halen fans, when they're told, like, you guys right now in this first week, you have first dibs, will also come with an explanation of like how this works in, you know, easy to understand language.
Yeah. In our old brain language.
Yeah, I still don't have a full understanding. I just know that these guys are very successful. They know what they're doing. Yep. They're trustworthy. And, you know, you look around and, yeah, I mean, Kanye West, Snoop Dogg, I think, I want to say Korn maybe. There's some rock bands, too, that are doing it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, my friend's band is doing it. I don't think I'm allowed to say their name. But my friend's band is pretty big. They're doing it. It's, I think for artists, it's a new way for them to release their records.
Yep.
Too. Like, you know, your streams on iTunes, you don't get paid much.
Oh, it is.
You know?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So that, you know, I think like somebody like Kanye, who I'm not a fan, but, you know, man, I think knows what he's doing. It's this win-win situation. Like, fans get not just this material, but they get all this bonus stuff too, like extra music and photos and access to other things as the NFT continues, and the artist gets paid.
Yep.
So it's like a win-win for everyone.
I think that's great. I mean, it's really going back to the way it should be, because, I mean, I released an album last year, 2020. This one here, you know, took a lot of work to get this all together. We've got, you know, artists from all around the world playing on it, including Jennifer Batten from Michael Jackson's band. And, you know, unfortunately, not a lot of people buy the CD, but, you know, tens of thousands of people streamed it, which I made maybe $25. You know.
You should talk to my NFT guys. Real quick before we go, I have to read you. I'm supposed to read you what they told me to read.
Yeah, no problem.
So they're going to be hosting events, creating contact, and getting fans in there early. And people who get in it are eligible for like low-cost pre-sales on the next one, and like added collectibles, exclusive access to like future viewings of things. So yeah, it's more than just you get the clip. Like, you get to come into this whole little Van Halen world of my time there. And, you know, I guess people can Google it, but I guess anybody who buys the NFT, they can actually go resell it.
Yeah.
And I guess make money back, or they can actually make money off of it. I don't know, man. I don't like to talk about money. I think it's a really cool way to get kind of a full immersion experience in there, man. Like, not just see a clip, but like actually get like, wow, man, I'm getting photos and I get to listen to this track and get this extra footage. And, you know, I think people have heard the Gene Simmons demos or the Zero demos.
Yeah.
But I was told that the demos are actually different. And my demos, as far as legitimacy goes, my demos were given to me by Gene Simmons. When I met him, the first words out of his mouth, "You know, I discovered Van Halen, right?"
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, and then he sent the demos, I actually knew that I was at 5150, so he had a messenger bring over this envelope.
Yeah.
And on the CD, he wrote Van Halen demos by Gene Simmons. And Eddie goes, put those in. I want to hear it. I want to hear this. And I put it in. His eyes get really wide. He goes, holy shit. I haven't heard these in 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And I pulled the disc out, and I was like, well, here, man, like, you should probably have these then. And he goes, Andrew, if I went to get my demos, I'm pretty sure I can get my demos. And he goes, besides, that fucking asshole sent them to you. They're yours.
Wow. That's huge.
So I think we're gonna include those as well. I just I have all this material, man. I just want to share it with the world. That's all. Yeah, man. Hey, look, dude, if I could afford to, I would just give it all away.
Yeah.
I really would. I would just give it away, make people happy, But I'm a starving artist who lives in a house with no air conditioning. So
yeah.
I have to buy a lot of fans.
I'm sure after this, a lot of people know who you are.
Hey, I've gotten on the phone with some people, and I've done like Facebook chats with like people I don't even know. We're just like, I would love to talk to you and just hear some things, ask some questions. I've done it every single time, man. If somebody hits me up on Facebook, I'm happy to chat for a few minutes and answer some questions for you. Like, I feel like it's my responsibility. I'm the only person I was the first person ever in that studio with a camera. I was the last person in that studio with a camera.
Yeah.
And I've had all these experiences. If I can make somebody happy by telling them, that your hero was one of the most amazing men I've ever met. Not just a rock star, he's one of the most amazing men I've ever known. So I have positive things to share about him.
That's great to hear. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. So man, good to talk to you.
Yeah, well, thanks again. And I'll talk to you real soon, and hopefully we can organise that little viewing.
Yeah, we can do that, man. Let's talk in the next day or so. We can do a little shared screen thing, and then you can jump on your next session or tell your friends, fans. Like, I just saw Eddie Van Halen play opera teacher at 5150 with no singer.
Yeah.
It's almost a different experience.
Yeah.
To listen to it with no singer. It's kind of
that'd be awesome.
So,
all right.
I got you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Dude, thanks for having me, man.
No problem. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Watching.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.